various other naturopathy healers, he could understand that this is an extremely first point is that it is a part of Vedas, and second is that it is so profound and its references are at so many places. So I mean, of course, as we already know it, that our body, we have two types of body. One is material body and one is spiritual body, and the aim is to, of course, revive our dormant love for Krishna, as explained in so many scriptures in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself explains this. So and the process for doing this is bhakti, and in order to do this bhakti nicely, we do our sadhanas in a proper way. So in our body has to be kept in a nice way, because that is the thing which will help us in doing our sadhana in a best possible way. And that is why it is very important to keep our body well. And the references for keeping our body well has been there in so many locations and scriptures, and even the Vedas. So the importance of spiritual body everyone knows, and there are four Vedas and so many Puranas there to deliver the soul. And there is one Veda, but still Krishna made this one Veda so that you can keep your body well, and that is called as Upveda, that is Ayurveda. So four Vedas for the soul and one Upved for the body. Now Ayurveda has a system of healing that align ourselves with the nature, and if you fail to align, then you utilize different means in order to make your body heal. I could find a small reference in Bhagavatam also on how, in previous days, how this system was so famous that people used to give references. In Narad Samvad and Vyas Samvad, when Vyasdev was not, very happy and was not feeling content, even after writing such great, scriptures, um, I could see a reference where he said that, "O Brahmana Vyasdev, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all trouble and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead." Now, this actually means that uh, he's telling Vyasdev that the same activities of your life which are causing you troubles can be the reason for coming out of those troubles as well. This is the same activities which you are doing and which is causing you trouble. Same activities, if you start doing it in the service of Krishna, then these activities will be removing the troubles also. And then he gives an example. Of 1.5.33, in which he says, "Amayo yashascha bhutanam jayate yena subrata tadevihamayam dravyam na punati chikitsitam," which means that, "O good soul, does not a thing when applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by the same very thing?" So I mean, the same things which is causing the disease, the same food that you are eating, and which is actually creating issues, same thing, if you apply it properly, will become the treatment also. And this is what has been there. He is giving example, which means it was so much propagated that time. Everyone was using these methods to cure themselves, and that is why our Ayurveda is an extremely extremely body friendly, and it helps us to keep our body in a best possible way, so that we can, it is not to do again, that by keeping our body better we will again engage in sense gratification, but it is so that we can do bhakti properly. It is so that our sadhana can be done in a best possible way. And that is bhakti is, I mean, it is, no one is saying that one should not enjoy eating and all this, because but one should do it in an authorized way, and that is bhakti. Bhakti is the most enjoyable process, so one should do it in a prescribed way. Now there are two types of treatments basically in the Ayurvedic thing. I'll just put it like 1 minute so that, yes. So there are two types of treatments defined in previously. Yeah, there was a method called as non-invasive and invasive. Now, in invasive method is in which you add something into your body to heal. Now add something to your body is like add some chemical or some non-chemical, and add anything external to your body. And non-invasive in which something is nothing is added into the body and it heals you. So when we see chemical invasive, is allopathy is chemical invasive. And what will be non-chemical? Non-chemical will be homeopathy and Ayurveda. So in Ayurveda is basically, all anything, all the medicines derived from plants, stems, plant leaves, plant roots, etc. And homeopathy, in which the medicine is basically derived from the seeds of the all these plants. So these are that's why it is called as non-chemical. That's why it qualifies under non-chemical. And non-invasives are those in which you don't actually add anything. So astrology, hypnosis, there are so many, acupressure and naturopathy. But now, basically, actually, very broadly speaking, Ayurveda nowadays is seen only as the method of treating your body in non-chemical way by ingesting something. But basically, Ayurveda actually previously, historically, I mean, if we say from the Vedic times, then that is the comings under the total treatment. It completes the entire umbrella actually. But nowadays, people see it as the method of ingesting it by roots and stems and other things. Okay, now I'll just make it. So logically speaking, the most natural way of treating is basically go, I mean, it's very logical, yeah, logical. So whenever you are having some issues, logically what you should try first, that you should try a non-invasive methods. Then you should, if it is not working, then you should try, of course, the non-chemical methods, and then we should do it chemically. But what do we do nowadays? We have some issue, we take a cold rain and we go to, because we have to do shopping, we have to clean our home, we have to do so many things. So we reject the symptoms given by the body, and that becomes the root cause of our future issues, which we'll cover in due course of time. Now uh, every method of treatment is basically having its own principles. For example, in allopathy, the principle is that microbes and viruses are the reason for causal of any disease, and that is why the medicines suppresses these symptoms and body tries to heal itself, or maybe kills those viruses and bacteria, and that is the main principle of allopathy. In homeopathy, I mean, that is why in allopathy, if you see, all the allopathic drugs are used to control the symptoms, but there is no a permanent solution for that. For example, if you have a diabetes, you have to continue to eat those medicines in order to control control the secretion, or maybe insulin level in your body, yeah, secretion of the insulin level in your body, and there is no solution for it. Same happens with blood pressure medicine. Same happens with, once you have a heart attack, they give you medicines in order to keep your blood more diluted and all the times. But they it's never a solution. So I mean, people think that it is a treatment, but actually it is like, you have to, because if it is a treatment, then it will treat you completely. You will not be dependent upon those drugs all the time. Homeopathy also have its own symptoms, own principle. So in homeopathy, the solution of treatment is like intensity. When intensity of the disease and the potency of the medicine matches, your body gets healed. And that is why in homeopathy, you actually need a very good doctor who can actually identify that what is the intensity of the disease. And if he is able to identify the intensity of disease correctly, he will be able to give you those medicines which can exactly negate it. It is like this, if you have something and you have to break it, if you hit it very hard, it will be destroyed. If you hit it very softly, it will be like, it will not break. So but you have to apply the right amount of pressure, and that is the very principle of the homeopathy. But again, in homeopathy there are other things, and because of which people don't find it, or maybe does not get resolution, or their disease does not get healed. It's because that all the medicines in homeopathy requires alkaline environment, your body alkaline environment to work. Now, alkaline and acidic is a totally different group of discussion, but still I will say that your blood is there in body, and it is said that your body should be 80% alkaline and 20% acidic. Now, when we ingest all these acidic components, even having coffee, tea, all these, this increases the acidity level. And nowadays, no or none of the homeopathy doctor tells you to keep your body in a perfect alkaline environment. And that is why the one thing is, when they have to identify the right disease, perfect intensity of the disease, they have to give a perfect equal potency medicine, and and at the same time people also have to maintain their body in a perfect uh, alkaline environment. And that is the you know that is why it becomes a problem that lot of people in homeopathy does not also get heals, because you need a really good and experienced doctor. So this is how the principles of allopathy and ayurvedic, and in ayurveda, the principle is like, any disease is caused by the imbalance of vata, pitta and kapha. And that is why doctors of ayurveda try to give you these non-chemical medicines and try to maintain this level so that your body can cure. Once your level in vata, pitta and kapha is normalized, then it can be healed properly. Now, in naturopathy, the principle is something different, which we'll come to discussion in a bit. Now, you see, our body is an extremely intelligent setup created by Krishna. Can anyone tell me how our body is intelligent? I mean, first is, do you agree that our body is intelligent? Hello,
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, how the body is intelligent? Can you give me some example?
Uh, one thing I can think of is about our DNA,
Hmm?
and some, and we have seen people taking the faces of their grandparents, so they have
Hmm.
kind of a memory. They have kind of, you can say, an inbuilt
Memory,
intelligence.
yes, yes, yes.
So that can be one
Then
thing
there
about
are
Prabhu.
auto corrections also. I
Yes.
mean, you see it when you see close, your lenses gets adjusted. Similarly, when there are body's mechanisms to control the fever, to control the temperature of the body, the heart. There's so many complicated, organs. So, I mean, did you know that there is no common digestion process in the body? Which means that if you have carbohydrate, a carbohydrate has a complete different way of digestion. Proteins has a completely different way of digestion, and fats has a completely different way of digestion. Which means that once you actually gulp rice and you chew it, the saliva gets mixed to the with the rice, and it turns into bisaccharide or disaccharides, and then in
Excuse
intestine.
me, Prabhuji.
Yes, baby, yes, please.
Can I also add that
Yes, please.
it may digest the food?
Hmm? It digests the food. Digestion is a very intelligent process. You are absolutely right. And we will see now that how digestion is such a complicated process. Okay. And I mean, please don't mind. These are critical words, but in simpler terms, I will try to explain it. When we ingest carbohydrate, the digestion by default starts in mouth only. The saliva is having some enzymes which turns this rice into polysaccharides into bisaccharides directly in the mouth itself. And when it goes into the stomach and intestine, the digestion of the carbohydrate does not happen in stomach. It remains there, and it only happens when it moves to intestine, where it gets with the addition of certain more enzymes, it gets changed into monosaccharide. Now, if this synthesization, this is like, from rice to monosaccharides. And similarly in protein, when you eat protein, it goes into stomach, and because of certain peptones, there's something called as pepsin, and this pepsin introduces into the stomach, and this changes protein into peptone. And by secretion of pancreas, some enzymes, it changes into amino acids. And similarly happens with fats to fatty acids, but this happens by the liver and the bile juices. Now, if the content that we had in our body synthesize properly, then it will get absorbed. And if it does not synthesize properly, then it will be passed as it is. It will not be absorbed by our body. Now you see that this is such a complicated process. Similar complication or complicated process there in a respiratory system. Whenever we inhale the air has to be dry. Our lungs are designed by Krishna so that it can only hold the dry air, dry and unmoistened air, undusty air. So the hairs in our nose cleans the dust in the air, and the um, our there is something called as sinus. So sinus removes the moisture from the air, and then it goes into the lungs. And in lungs, very interesting thing happens. This gases air gets dissolved into liquid blood, and the carbon dioxide which is liquid in the blood becomes gaseous in the lungs. So this is such a complicated process. It continuously non-stop happens. It continuously happens. Now you see, body cannot talk. Body cannot talk in the sense it cannot tell you that okay boss, I'm having some issues, please hold on. It will not talk, but it will give you some indications, and these indications are the way of body telling that there is some problem going on. Please give me some time. I will try to rectify the situation. Now these symptomatic diseases are basically called as friendly diseases, acute diseases. Now there are three types of diseases. One is called as acute: fever, motion, cough, cold, aches. These are the messengers basically from the body telling that there is some issue in the body, and please hold on, let me do something. Now imagine that your body is such an intelligent structure, and you do not respect the indications provided by the body. It is just like a friend or maybe a servant is coming to your place telling you that there is a fire in place, and instead of releasing or maybe clearing out the fire, you are actually trying to suppress the servant or the messenger itself. um, there is a term in IT industry that's called as machine learning. Machine learning is like, you try to teach new words to the machine, it slowly understand that how the way person is behaving, how the way things are happening, and slowly it try to understand the behavior of the person. Similar way, once you try to suppress your body by taking medicines because you have a fever, which means that something is a problem in the body. Your level of toxins or your there is something alien, some disease is happening or something, and body raises its temperature in order to fight those problems. But what we do, instead of giving body time, we give them medicine, and medicine to control the symptoms. So we are actually killing the messenger. We are actually suppressing a very intelligent person. We are disrespecting the indication, and this autoimmune system which is there in the body, it slowly understands that it's just like telling a very intelligent worker that your opinion does not matter. And this can be regarded to as the harassment. And if these harassments or these um, suppression of the good diseases continues, it gets transformed into a chronic disease. And when you don't treat chronic disease properly, naturally, in a perfect way, then they become degenerative, which gets transformed into a very difficult or maybe very hard diseases. Now, the principle of naturopathy is this, Prabhujis and Matajis. Any disease is due to the accumulation of toxins in the body. Now, where does these toxins comes from? It comes from the toxin word. Please don't take it as the what I say. Please don't take it as poison. It's a different thing. Toxin is something, anything which is not required by your body is toxin. So when you eat food, all the nutrients and everything gets extracted into the body, and whatever remains are the toxins. So they have to be expelled out. Similarly, all the organs, there are so many organs in our body which cleanses. So there are you are continuously, your cells, the whole body is made up of cells. Now, when you in your body continuously, your cells dies and your new cells are produced. This happens continuously. Whenever the new cells are produced, your body is slowly growing. Yeah. And when our old cell dies, there is a autophagy system in our body which consumes these dead cells and takes whatever the nutrients are there and releases the energy, and whatever remains becomes again the toxin. And these things are to be cleaned by using respiratory system, by using different organs. Now, this elaborate healing mechanism that our body has, it is the principle in naturopathy that if we give body sufficient respect, a favorable environment, and time, then the body can heal any disease. I repeat, if you give body sufficient respect, a favorable environment, and time, body can heal any disease. Any disease means 100% acute diseases can be healed. You can heal 100% chronic disease, and you can heal degenerative, like all these diseases like cancer and all, up to the stage 2. And after stage 3, it is like then only Dr. Madhav can help. Yeah, it's now Dr. Madhav. Anyone
No,
knows Dr.
Prabhuji.
Madhav? Dr. Madhav is Sri Krishna himself. So only he can help. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langai te
Very
girim.
good.
So he can, Gungi ko bhi, he can let him speak. He can do all the miracles. So um, his energy, I will say, the naturopathy can heal you up to the stage 2 of any ghatak disease, and after that, it is only he who can help you. Now, we should see these toxins as there's an example I'll give. The kitchen, just like in kitchen, you cook. Whenever you cook, you bring so many vegetables and all. It doesn't, I mean, it's not like that whatever you cook everything is utilized, or maybe whatever you cut, there will be always waste material, the peels, the end of the vegetables, all these are waste. So similarly in our body also, when you eat, these extra things are produced. These are called as toxin, and if these toxins are not cleaned properly, it produces disease. This is the simple method. Now, these waste materials removed by the organs of our elimination. Now, how it happens is like, in a diseased person, um, the accumulation of toxin is more. uh, 1 minute, yeah. Okay, accumulation of toxins is quite much and quite more, and in a healthy person, the accumulation of toxins are in a very low stage. Now, the principle says that if the accumulation of toxins is quite much, we have to employ methods in order to help our organs clean our body in better. Now, Lord Krishna has given us 5 servants. Huh? Consider your body as the house, and to clean the house, Lord Krishna has given us 5 servants to clean your body right from the day you took birth till your last breath. Not one, not two, not three, 5 servants. And anyone can guess who are these 5 ones. Can someone tell me who are these 5 servants of the body?
No idea, Prabhu. Saliva is one probably.
uh, Saliva is like, now for example, saliva, it helps in digestion, but cleaning के लिए
Okay.
कौन से, so for example, I'll give you one example. So your blood gets cleaned, so by what?
Heart. Heart.
By heart pump करता है साहब प्रभु, heart pumps it. So for
Lungs.
example, I will now,
Okay.
okay, in a way, I'll help you in this way. So these are the
Prabhuji,
ha beta boli.
can I tell?
Yes, please tell.
Eyes, nose, tongue,
Yes.
ears, and not
Good attempt,
nose.
beta. Good attempt. See, these are the organs with which we consume things from outside. Okay, so these are not helps you to clean, but Krishna has given us these five organs in order to clean. Now we will talk about each one of them one by one. So kidney helps to clean up all the urea which is there. So kidney and skin are both the same organs which expulses the toxins from the body. So in the form of sweat, all the salt and everything, and all the regulation of the temperature happens with skin. Lungs, of course, we discussed about a very elaborate method in which oxygen and carbon dioxide and everything gets exchanged. Large intestine is helps you to stool removal and all. Liver is a very complicated organ. It's called as chemical factory inside the body. It executes more than 200 processes in the body, and it also have one kind of an autophagy system. We discussed about this. Um, uh, uh, Whenever your cells are dying in the body, this autophagy system consumes these dead cells and utilizes the energy and removes the toxins which are there. Now the making of the cell and the dying of the cell is continuously happening in our body. For example, the rate of cells growth in kids are more and cells dying is less. That is why you see that the reason for, I mean, the kids the rate of cell making is very high and the rate of cell dying is low, and in youth and old age the rate of cell dying is more and the rate of cell decrease is more. So logically in old, because this rate of cells dying is really high and new cells making is really low, because of this autophagy system, the toxin level will anyways increase. Now due to the increase of this toxin level, and also during the old age, the efficiency of these organs are also down, which means that the toxin will keep on accumulating in old age more and more. And that is why in old age condition, you'll see that people tend to get more diseases. They are tend to get much more diseases than in normal days. Everyone has talked about that when you get old, you will tend to get more disease, but why is not known. And this is what tells us that because of the level of toxins increase in our body, you tend to get more disease during old age. Now, one more important thing. Uh, Energy in our body is generated. I mean, till now, this is a new thing for me, that when we eat food, we get energy and the heat produced in our body, and there is a carbon dioxide removal. But actually, the Ayurveda tells us that this is a wrong equation in itself. Actually, the energy plus, oops, gives us energy and heat and carbon dioxide. Now, this is not known till now. I mean, it was known, but it was not unlocked. So you see that whenever we eat food, it actually goes into the cells. Now, this cell actually consumes two things only. It takes oxygen from our blood and it takes nutrients from our blood, and energy is created. Energy, how it is utilized, we'll talk. And whatever the heat is produced is keeping our body temperature, and the carbon dioxide again gets mixed into the our body. Now this oxygen plays a very important role. That's why Vedas are talks about it. But we'll talk about energy first. This energy utilization, Prabhujis and Matajis, are happening in three ways. One is for our body activities. These are external body activities. Whenever you go out, you run, you do whatever activities. There are internal activities which are like breathing, digestions, pumping of heart, which goes on without you doing anything. And then there is a third very important thing uh, done by this energy. This energy gets utilized in cell repair, cell creation, and toxin removal. Now, this third part, now if you have the five servants, under what conditions your kitchen will not be clean? Just think about it. Now kitchen will not be clean when you give your servants much more work to do than they can actually do it. So what will happen is like they will try to do it in the remaining time, and if it does not happen, they will try to do it next day and the next day again and the next day again. So if you don't give them sufficient rest, they will not be able to perform the functions which they are designed to do. They will only do this external and internal activities. They will do it this part also, but not up to that level, and slowly the accumulation of toxins in the body will keep on increasing. And that is why it is very important, it is said that all these organs we should, because these are like an indicators, like in a car you have the indication of oil, you have the indication of petrol, you have the indication of coolant. So these are the three things that you have to manage. Rest, internal, engine, whatever is happening, it will continue to happen. But you have to make sure that these three things are taken care of. And these are the five our detox organs of the body, which we have to concentrate in order to make sure that our third task also happens nicely. Now we will take the interview of individual organ. We will see that how the how our individual organ is loaded. Okay, now you see this is the bhogi cycle. Now how is our daily routine? 8 a.m. in the morning, breakfast. Okay, and then the x and y axis I will just explain. The stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and this is sleep. So it is like these are our organs, and this is the time, 24 hours from 8 a.m. to next day 8. So in the morning we get up, we eat food, breakfast, then 1 p.m. lunch, 5 p.m. Tea and snacks, then 9 p.m. dinner, or maybe a glass of milk or something like that. Okay, now in stomach it takes minimum 3 to 4 hours for us to for the food to reach or maybe remove from stomach, and from here it goes into small intestine. Small intestine takes 7 hours at least to consume. Okay, so you had breakfast, breakfast is moved to small intestine, small intestine 7 hours. Again you had lunch 4 hours, by 5 p.m. it again goes here. So small intestine is again you ate something, and again then
Hare
by in
Krishna,
5
Prabhu.
p.m. Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu. Are you sharing something?
Yes, Prabhu. Can anyone not see?
No, I am unable to see that.
Matajis,
No,
can you see?
Prabhuji. No.
Because now you said this, then I realized that probably you are trying to share
No,
something.
Prabhuji.
Even you cannot see. Okay, screen to Haribol. You could see
Yes,
now.
Bhogi cycle.
Amazing. You did not see a thing, is it?
No, no, Prabhu.
Amazing. So, Areva. Okay. Now, we, okay, I'm sorry. I did not ask that everyone can see or not. Uh, ठीक है. So, we discussed about treatments, invasive, non-invasive, chemical and non-chemical. We also discussed about the digestion process, how the digestion happens in our body for different food items. We also discussed about types of diseases: acute, chronic, and degenerative. Acute are the diseases which are called as friendly diseases: fever, motion, cough, cold, aches, and it is very important that we treat them in a very proper way without ingesting any chemicals inside our body. And if you do not treat them well, it is just like telling our body that your opinion does not matter, and this rejection or harassment continuously ultimately leads to your mand rogs and ghatak rogs. Now the principle we also discussed that in naturopathy the accumulation of toxins is the most important, or the reason for the generation of any disease. And if we give body sufficient respect, it will definitely heal in due course. And we discussed about the function of different organs, liver, large intestine, and lungs. And we also discussed about the energy equation. The food plus oxygen ultimately gives you energy, heat, and carbon dioxide. And that is why all our Vedic, cultures, or maybe Ayurveda and everything are talking about pranayam and all these methods, because oxygen is an equal amount or equally capable source of energy as good as food. So our cells takes only food and oxygen in order to generate all these things. Now see, for consumption of food, we saw that पूरा body को कितना पापड़ बेलना पड़ता है. Yeah, they have to really do a very complicated process and to generate the energy from this food. But to consume the oxygen, it's of course a complicated process, but it is not as difficult, or it's not as heavy. Multiple organs does not need to go undergo this. And that is why Ayurveda and everyone tells you to take more oxygen, to do these pranayam techniques. It is ultimately designed in a way for that, so that our body can have much more oxygen, and this helps to to keep our detox organ in a very and nice, they keep them in a very healthy environment. Now when we started to discuss about a bhogi cycle, like how a typical day happens in our day. So 8 a.m. we have breakfast. We are putting it like, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and sleep. So in 8 a.m. we take breakfast, and it takes 4 hours to reach to small intestine. Similarly, then after 1 o'clock we eat lunch. Then by 5 p.m. we have snacks, and by 9 p.m. we have dinner or milk. Okay, and so the moment in the morning we have breakfast, take 4 hours, and it reaches small intestine. Again in small intestine, it's there for 7 hours. 7 hours this complicated procedure goes on, and by the time of 5 p.m. again the lunch what we ate again reaches the small intestine. And by the time 5 p.m. snacks again that reaches here. And it you see how loaded these servants, the servants which are Krishna has provided you for cleaning up, for consumption of the food, they are so loaded. And this is a typical day by day process. One can say bichara kaam ke boj ka mara kind of, yeah, for small intestine, it's so much loaded. And then after 7 hours it reaches your large intestine. And similarly, it goes on. And during the sleep, next day whatever you ate in the dinner ultimately finishes from the large intestine by in the morning by next day. And throughout the night, all this detox, all after finishing of these activities, our body then does this third function of cell repair, cell creation, toxin removal. Now again coming to that, back to the same point, that if we if we do not give time to our servants, how effectively will they be able to clean our or clean our body? It will be very ineffective. Now you see, if now it is just like, now we will talk about maybe one example of, if person does not dissipates maybe properly in the morning, the toxins which are there in this large intestine again enters inside the blood, and the toxins again gets introduced in the blood, and the blood has to be again cleansed. So you will see that the problems which people have, where the major cancer causing reason is the indigestion. Because um, body is trying to dissipate something out, and it's not being expulged properly, and whatever the toxins which are there, it's are coming back into our body, and the level of toxin inside the blood keeps on increases, and this actually gives overload to your kidney, your liver. And because liver is something which releases, or maybe which cleans the bloods continuously, and this cleansing of blood is a very important function. And when this liver gets loaded too much, it stops functioning very well. And when this stops functioning, the chemical level or the toxin levels in the body increases. uh, these cells which die continuously, the consumption is also depends upon liver's autophagy system. Now these dead cells which are not cleansed properly because of the overloading of liver get starts accumulating at certain limbs, and these accumulations ultimately are called as cancer. So you see, the cleaning or the rest of individual organ is so important that if we don't do it properly, it is like an invitation uh, um, giving to the diseases. Now we see that bhogi cycle. Yeah. Now we see, if we change a little bit on our eating pattern itself, then what effects it will have of on our organs. You can see here itself. Yeah, this is such a complicated process. All your organs are so much engaged in only the digestion, but here you see it is such a simpler way of having it. 9 a.m. we do lunch itself, that is the combining of lunch and breakfast, and evening 6 p.m. And this is what our Vedic culture has taught us. Even in temples, I think all the people, Sant Kopeshwar, please correct me if I'm wrong, they actually have the lunch right in the morning. There is no breakfast concept. Even in temples, Rajbhog is served to Lord at 10 a.m. only. So it was there in our culture for a long time. The breakfast and other things is again a very big conspiracy by these breakfast companies in order to sell their meals. Um, you eat 9 a.m., you see in 4 hours it remains in stomach, and then after that it reaches your small intestine. Your small intestine consumes it till 8 o'clock, and then it moves to your large intestine and it gets expelled properly. You see how in between each meal how much time your stomach is getting. 1 2 3 4 5, your small intestine is getting 1 2 3 4 5 6, so much of rest it is getting. And this rest actually helps them to detox, to repair, for toxin removals in a very proper way. You see, whenever you wake up in the morning, due all this toxin removals happens in the body throughout the night. And if the that is why whenever you go in the morning to pass urine or something, it's dark in color and it's more smelly. It's just because the whole toxin removal thing happened throughout the night in the body. And if you give your organ sufficient rest, it will be able to it is you will feel very light, and you will be able to treat your body in a very good way. Now there are few also suggestions that then what will happen, because in between, so you have to eat actually 2 times a day, very simple food. If you feel um, again hunger in between, then fruits are again given by Krishna, and they requires very less amount of time. Why they require very less amount of time? Because they are designed by Krishna in such a way that the time taken by stomach or intestine to consume them is hardly half an hour or something, because it does not require acid to digest them. When it does not require acid to digest, it does not add any much load to the different organs, and that is why you can consume fruits in between, and try to limit your food intake. This will keep your all the organs in a very simpler way. Another thing is that the toxins which are coming in the body are more in grains and in meat products and other things. In meat is extremely high, because the way these animals are being fed, they are being injected by injections and all. So this produces a very huge amount of टॉक्सिन्स एंड टू कंज्यूम्स पूरा बॉडी को बहुत पापड़ बेलना पड़ता है एंड that is why in our Vedic system, Ekadashi fasting is suggested to to fast from grains, because wheat and rice, these grains are producing more amount of toxins. It does not mean that we should not consume it, but we should limit the consumption, and every now and then we should actually fast in order to expulge the toxins which are being produced by these in these food items that we eat continuously. Okay, another thing which on which one person can think. So one way is giving rest to your organs. Second is thinking like, now whenever we put any vegetables into the refrigerators, it is said that almost close to 30% amount is, wasted, in the sense it gets reduced from them, and another 30% or 40% gets reduced when it happens during our type of cooking. So whenever we actually, in a burning hot pan, whenever we put some vegetables, whatever comes out, that reduces another 30% of the so whatever remained, the nutrients is hardly 30 to 40%, and the remaining part is, again, I'll say, toxins. So one can also focus from the second side by the food to energy ratio. So if we try to eat more steamed things, or maybe we steam our food first so that ingredients remains, and then put them in our pans, then it will at least retain few nutrients. uh, we have to bring the food which we are keeping in refrigerator to normal temperature first, and then try to cook it. So in this way, the nutrients, the food to energy ratio will also be better. So one side, you actually optimize the way your organs are working. On the second side, you have optimized the energy to food ratio, and in this way, you are actually optimizing and helping your body to come up with come up with the issue. Another important point is, for example, the sugar in our body. Now, in order to control the sugar, basically our pancreas releases insulin, and insulin is something like a chabi. It's like a key. In order to cell to consume sugar or carbohydrates, it requires a key, and this key is insulin. So there are receptors in which this insulin get plugged in, and because of this insulin, your body starts absorbing the sugar. So if you're eating a huge amount of rice and wheats and sugars, what happens is, like, there is a increase in the blood sugar level, because these are directly actually the sugar items: potato, wheat, rice, and everything. Now I'm telling why. Now with this, we will be able to see why the fat people tend to get diabetes more often, because this cell, once you have the insulin, the cells start accepting the carbohydrates. But what happens, this layer of fat gets over this cell, and even after addition of insulin, because of this fat layer, the sugar does not get absorbed, and slowly in our body, insulin starts, pancreas thinks like, sugar is not getting consumed, it try to release more and more and more number of insulin, and due to this, very huge irritation happens at pancreas, and it stops working properly, and this stopping of, or maybe not working properly, is commonly known as diabetes. So if you give your body sufficient rest, your different organs will be enthused, and your organs will work better. Your pancreas, your liver, your small intestine, all these things will get sufficient rest, and this is how you will slowly overcome all the problems in your body. So there are I mean, we are actually trying to save ourselves from different sides. One side, we are giving sufficient time for toxin removal. At the same time, we are also focusing on food to energy ratio, so that maybe same amount of energy can be consumed with less food. Less food means less toxins which will be there in the body. Your organs have to function less in order to secrete, in order to clean those, remove those toxins. At the same time, when we do a lot of breathing, breathing, ultimately gives you more oxygen. More oxygen is gives you more energy throughout the day. That's why when you start your day, you should do pranayams, and you do workout, all these activities. By doing pranayam, when you have more oxygen in the blood, the cleansing of the toxins are up to a very high level. And this is just like giving our servant a right environment to work. Cells functions very nicely. Mitochondria is there inside the cell. Mitochondria works very nicely when it is having high amount of oxygen. And that is why if you do pranayam, your cell consumption of energy is very effective and high. And that is why you should do this. And another part, if you can do, it's really nice, but I was trying since last week. It's very difficult to do, but mono diet is a concept. Now when we eat, I mean, this is interesting. When you eat rice mixed with dal, so dal is protein, rice is carbohydrate. When you put it in your mouth, the carbohydrates, the protein covers this carbohydrate, and the saliva does not reach the rice. And that is why the digestion of rice in the mouth due to saliva does not happen properly. And it does not consume. It consumes some portion gets consumed, but not much gets consumed. And that is another reason for further indigestion. That is why people say that you should try a mono diet, that you should try to eat one type of the food in a go. And that is why people say that you should not mix food with fruits, or maybe different foods together, like you citrus or this, because everything has a different way of digestion. So one say that if you are having a protein diet, take the dal itself separately, take rice separately, which means like eating rice first, chewing it, swallowing it, and then having dal, which is a very complicated thing to do. But at least if you cannot do mono diet, at least follow that you do them separately, at least if that is possible. um, Perfect. That is one way. Another thing is to keep our body alkaline. How you can keep your body more alkaline and less acidic is by doing pranayam and by following this mono diet, by using eating food to energy ratio in a better way, is like you are eating um, fruits more, and food less, and that too food which is not kept in refrigerators, and or maybe even if it is kept, at least it is it is, you actually focus on bringing down the temperature of the food properly, and using food cooking techniques, etc. And once you do the alkaline, that is why you see the more premium water you find in market is alkaline, because if you're alkaline in body, all these organs in your body function superbly well. There is another reason to take care of the digestion or maybe the food cycle. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter I think 15, we have one shloka, this Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita, that says that I am the fire of digestion in the body of all living entities. And I am the one who is the fire of digestion. So Krishna is saying that he himself is the fire of digestion, and he is the representation. Fire is the representation of Vishnu, Krishna. And it makes sense that we eat right things, not for the sense of taste, but for the happiness of Krishna. So that is why we cannot keep on gulping or putting dump or junk food, etc., in our stomach. We should eat what is necessary, and our body does not require so much of food, which we saw in this bhogi cycle. Yeah, so much of food is not required. You can actually very well take care of a body with 2 times and then fruits in between. Um, so in this way, we can take care of the body. Then there are different ways of treating um, um, different organs of our body. So for example, 1 minute. I will just quickly finish in a minute or so. Okay, so skin have, I mean, this sweat is the main part of the skin. It helps you to maintain your body temperature. So same toxins which are removed by kidney are also removed by skin. Now, if one person does not sweat a lot, that means the load on the kidney actually increases, and that is why the people who are not having, if you don't sweat a lot, then one should actually do steam baths and all. And these steam baths helps you to bring your helps you to sweat a lot, and that is how you manage to control the extra load that is there on the kidney. Similarly, on the lungs, there are some lung detox exercise I will share in the WhatsApp group, how you can detox your lungs. There are Kapal Bhati, there are pranayam, there are so many three or four types of things in which you remove the excess dust which gets accumulated in your lungs over the period of time. And um, Liver and this, large intestines, there are some methods like enema, and there are toxin removal methods of mud therapy, steam baths, so many other things in order to take care of these organs. And what I say, yes, uh, this intestine, we know that our body is made up of five elements, earth, water, air, fire, ether. And whatever we eat, it goes through esophagus and goes into your stomach and intestine and all. And this is a very complicated network of, I think, 30 to 40 feet. And this is the only place in which you see this space element, this ether element. Any air in the inside comes out either in the form of burp or something else. But this space elements is directly connected to your thoughts, basically. Ayurveda defines that, and that is why if you have a bad or indigestion or something, you tend to, not focus properly on anything. This is the reason why, giving rest to stomach, or maybe this ether element, any disturbance in this ether element causes you to not focus properly. It is directly linked to your thought process. um, any disturbance in your breathing pattern causes you many long-term diseases. That is why you see, um, when you are very much concentrating on something, your breathing cycle reduces. And your breathing cycle reduces, that which means that your body, your organs are not getting sufficient, cells are not getting sufficient oxygen. And that is why you are not able to think straight also. And in long term, you even, hypertension or these diseases are caused in ladies more, because they tend to undergo a lot of anxieties most of the time, and their breathing patterns are not really great. And that is why it is said that in the morning you should do these pranayam exercises. This will throughout the day keep you energetic, will keep you good energy level, and will also make sure that all these long term diseases and other things does not contract. Okay, so this is, I mean, in a nutshell from my side, Prabhujis and Matajis. If there are queries, would be really nice to know. I will also share later on, because we cannot cover this, that how you can treat all these friendly symptoms, how you can treat fever, how you can treat motion, how you can treat any, coughs or other things without getting into any external means. And treating these fevers and all these things are very important, because this is what will ultimately result in those acute and long term chronic and degenerative diseases. So this, how to treat them, one of the major treatment is basically to fast. Whenever you have a fever, you should actually fast, because body is telling you to take rest. And if you eat food, then your all these organs will actually focus, your body energy will be focusing in consumption of that food, and the focus on the treatment will be a little bit lesser. And that's why you should fast. And generally it has been seen that within 24 hours all these things are under control if you do it all the the methods which are suggested in naturopathy. Gopeshwar Prabhu, any queries? Monica Mataji, Rakhi Mataji?
Hare Bol Prabhu. Wonderful session, Prabhu. So it was really good insight. Many things probably just new, but I got some logical reasoning, some scientific reasonings behind it. Mainly, the one of the reasons of diabetes, which you mentioned about the fats covering sugar. So I guess probably it is and anyone for cancer, the dead cells how they get accumulated. So
Yes.
workout, going for why sweat, if you don't sweat how it can load other organs. So there are many good learnings for me today, and it was a wonderful detailed discussion, Prabhu. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for the effort that you have put.
Great,
And
Prabhu. Great. I will
Prabhu,
send
yeah,
this,
Prabhu,
treatments in the group so that everyone
yeah,
can see
Prabhu,
how you can, so every treatment is very clearly defined that one should stop food during fever. For motion, you should also, actually control your food intake. Um, it's a very interesting process. This is the photo of your intestine, how your alveoli looks like when you have a bad stomach and you tend to eat medicine. These alveoli which are very much stressed out, it's like our chemical what we eat from medicine actually stimulates them, and after some time these alveoli die. And it is the one of the main reasons for people to get cancers over a long period of time. These are very scientifically proven things. um, I will also tell you one very interesting thing. This is something which I just now learned. That's why I will share with you today itself. There is a scientist in Japan. They have invented autophagy system. Autophagy system, and they autophagy system is a system in which you actually do fasting in order to treat cancer and your various body. So this is a scientist group, there's a scientist in Japan who has proven that this autophagy system is a system which will once you fast it will help you to kill these cancer producing cells in the body. And these people from Japan got a Nobel Prize in 2017. Our scriptures have been telling this thing since a long time that you have to fast, and the fasting is a major thing which will help you to treat your cancer. But but again, another thing is that this autophagy system and this Nobel Prize things is not published very nicely. It has not been propagated very nicely. The reason for this is again the same pharmaceutical industry and food industry, because they want to sell their medicines. They want you to not become well, because ultimately how they will then survive. Yes.
very good, Prabhu. And I believe they also mention about uh, some DNA strand, junk DNA, tetramon, I believe, which
Yeah.
is
Okay.
that one, Prabhu?
Uh,
I believe the
no, no,
same,
this is the
same.
autophagy system, Prabhu. You search in autophagy system
Yeah, that
is,
is because of by fasting they try to heal, right, Prabhu?
the because of the fasting, again your organ themselves heals your body itself. And Prabhu, I mean, this is a part of the Ayurveda. Trisha has raised the hand. Trisha, yes, you want to say something, beta?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's me here. I want to know
Ha,
about
Mataji.
swelling. You know anything like? Can you just guide us, like, so in
Swelling.
swelling and all?
Yes, yes. Mataji,
How it works?
ake is a thing. Basically, your cells in the body. You actually, human being is just but a combination of all these cells in the body, right? And when you are having any eches in the body, it is cells which are telling you to give them some rest. It is like, they're crying. So we are millions and billions of cells in the body. Now, what we do is like whenever what happens when a baby is in difficult situation, the baby is in a difficult situation, then it cries, and similarly it's with the cells. So it means that you should actually give your body sufficient rest. Second thing you have to do is to give oxygen more, much more oxygen and less food. Now, why oxygen? Because oxygen helps your cells to work in a proper way. Mataji, I'll give you just an example. Uh, 2 weeks ago, I had a very severe back ache because of continuous sitting in the body. What I did is like, 2 weeks ago, I started to do this pranayam, kapal bhati, and there are 2, 3 lungs exercise with which oxygen level in the body increases. Within 24 hours of doing that pranayam, and there are 2, 3 exercises I did in for 1 hour, within 2 days the complete back ache has gone. Because of the back ache came because of this prolonged sitting exposure, and I was doing so many presentations with so many meetings and all, and because of that 8 hours of 7 hours continuous sitting, I was having that ache. And by doing this pranayam and all this exercise, within 1 day that ache was gone. Previously also it has happened, but that ache generally remains with me for at least close to a month, and then ultimately I have to go to some doctor and take some medicine. But this time I did this, and it was amazing to see that I could heal those aches in a proper way. So if you are having any body ache, for you, intake of oxygen is even more important. Breathing is a lot, and that is why, I mean, the reverse way of seeing is this: whenever you have muscle ache, people tell you to work out more. Now, by doing workout, what actually happens? Muscles get released, of course, but you tend to inhale more oxygen. And actually, that is what treats you, not the mere exercise. I'm not saying the exercising is bad, but exercising is important, but inhaling of oxygen is more important. And that is what helps you to treat. I will share this, treatments with you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very wonderful session, very simply explained, anyone can understand. My question is like, how would you suggest to plan meals for kids or elders or maybe a diabetic patient? I mean, do you?
Mad Yes, Mataji, I have a treatment book on that. I mean, there is a release by this Prabhuji, Dr. Madhav. So what he was saying that for even for diabetes patients, they should actually limit their meals to these 2 times. They should, they should focus more on fasting so that their pituitary gland, which is actually releasing insulin, gets some rest, and after some time it will start functioning well. I heard, Mataji, that this treatment which Dr. Madhav, was presenting. This Dr. Madhav is basically an initiated disciple. He's staying in Vrindavan, and he was suggesting that if we start to follow the procedure which is suggested by them, there are pranayam techniques, there are some toxin removal methods like enema and others they suggest for diabetes patient. Then after, I think within, he was saying that he could return back the all the symptoms of diabetes within, I think 3 weeks time, and he has cured many patients of diabetes within a month or so. So I would, instead of me suggesting for the diabetes patients, it would be best that we follow what has been written by or provided by them, because that would be the more expert advice. And I will share that book with you. In that, all the treatments of the diseases are there. The contact number of this naturopathy Prabhuji is also, I can share in the group. Maybe you can connect to him directly also, and he will
Yes,
guide it to you.
Prabhuji.
There are so many lectures also provided in YouTube. There's a free lectures by him that also I will share. Maybe you can go through them. It is very nice to have an insight from him directly also. A lot of content which I made is basically from his presentation only. I have not yet, done his lecture directly, but this is a friend of his who have, gone through his lecture, has presented it to me, and then I actually gone through all the lectures and I found it very nice, and that's why I have put up.
Oh, Hari Bol
This is
Prabhuji.
again, Mataji, a very big conspiracy that we have to, eat 4 times or 5 times a day. We think that it is great, but it is not a great thing. It is better to do intermittent fasting. This is why intermittent fasting is great. I started to follow this procedures like 2.5 weeks now, and I have already now I have lost 4 kgs. And throughout the day, I don't feel any fatigueness. Throughout the day, I don't feel low energy. And once you start following this 2 times meal thing, your body will adapt it very nicely, and you will feel light. Your sense of mind will also be good, and sense of mind good is that you will be able to do better bhakti, you will be able to chant nicely. You have very positive thoughts throughout the day. So I mean, following this 2 times meal thing is a really nice thing to do. You will become a doctor by yourself, yeah, soon enough, because you know how your individual organs are working. And in order to help these organs to work better, you know what are the things to do, how you know how to expel the toxins properly.
Okay,
Mhm.
Prabhuji, thank you so much. Huh? So for
Perfect.
kids, they will definitely, need more meals. So how about kids?
Yes, yes. For kids, they will need more meals, and for kids, I just need to check Mataji. I will come back to you on this because he was focusing on kids that the kids can also, for example, even for the newborn babies, he was saying that we don't tend to give them, any citrus things when they are infants, like few days old baby. And the milk is a very complicated product. In order to digest milk, body has to undergo a very top level of organ and engagement. And that is why they say that when the baby is infant, you should actually give them few spoons of citrus food. Now this citrus food actually helps the digestion process in a better way. That is why uh, kids should be given citrus fruits daily. At least one time they should be have, so that they can digest these milk and other things which are provided to them. This milk or lactose intolerance and everything will again fly away because of this addition of citrus thing. And your kids will be able to have because citrus also have vitamin c's and other things in there. So add more fruits, add more greens. But the how many times they should take can be, I mean, suggested by the book which I will share in due course.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Great, Mother.
Very good, Prabhu. Prabhu, from this boogie cycle to yogi cycle, when we go, I believe that, I mean, either we have that belief that, as you said, that body requires, we have started having that belief in that thing, that our body requires food 3 to 4 times a day, or our body has kind of adapted to it. So
प्रभु एक्चुअली
during
अडेप्टेशन ही है ये. आई मीन इट इज लाइक हम लोगों ने आई मीन एक तो इट हैज बीन फेड बाय दिस फार्मा एंड फूड इंडस्ट्री. यू विल से WHO में भी इतनी सारी जगह पर दे आर टेलिंग दैट यू हैव टू डू ब्रेकफास्ट, you have to do 4 times a day. This is a big conspiracy funded by these food companies like Kellogg's or ये सब, and they fund them to publish these articles. WHO में ये भी is written that you should actually have meat twice a day or something like that. This is promoted by the meat industry, despite of knowing, and there are so many theories or so many studies done that meat eating is the one of the major source of cancer, because in meats they inject so many chemicals and they had so many things, and the toxins which, and even in naturopathy that is that toxins which are coming out of these animals and meat are actually huge in quantity. And that is why you should reduce these meals to the simpler things like vegetable or vegetarian foods that we have. So it's a very they, because of these TV ads and all, we see it, and because of having breakfast for such a long time, we tend to feel that this is the right way, and what we were doing in the past was not the right way. Actually speaking, 2 times is a very simpler way of eating. And I am following myself for 2 weeks now. uh, Previously I used to tend to feel very much hungry during 5 o'clock or something, but now I at the 5 o'clock I start to add a few fruits, and that's it. Now I eat at instead of this cycle, I eat at 11 o'clock and I eat at 7 o'clock. So I'm shifting it a little bit because 9 o'clock it becomes difficult, and sometimes there are so many meetings. So 11 o'clock I take, and I take at 7 o'clock, and rest is fine. And I'm feeling it that it is
Okay.
possible. There's no problem, there's no issues. You can actually manage it.
Oh, Jai, Jai Hari Bol. So I
So
guess, Prabhu, the
this
best
from
way.
yogi to bhogi, Prabhuji, it's also tells us that our dependency, our what we say attachment on the food will also decrease, and this is one of the ways of जो हमारे बंधन है towards dependency and all this um, liking of or maybe dominance of the tongue that we have, this will also be ultimately reduced, and this will help us in bhakti definitely.
Jai, very good, Prabhu. What I was saying, Prabhu, is then probably for people who want to switch from bhogi to yogi, the simplest way is to start with ekadashis, right, Prabhu? That
Yes,
would give you
definitely.
some
That's
kind of,
why
yeah, Prabhu.
Ekadashi is a very important fast, and that is why every 15 days, it's just like a हम लोग घर पे जो like every day अपना buy will come to kitchen and will clean, but after few weeks we do a proper cleaning, and that is the Ekadashi. After every fortnight you should have this fast, and this will help your organs and body to rejuvenate, to clean all the deposited toxins. It's a fantastic way of doing it. And there is also a way of doing Ekadashi fast, because full day you will be fasting. So just in the morning you can before starting the fast you can have sufficient ample amount of water, ample amount of intake, so that your body throughout the day have some energy, but at the same time it gives a lot of rest to your organs. So Ekadashi fast is a great method, and it's one of the most important part. Everyone should use it irrespective of caste, creed, religion.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Regarding this citric fruit, you said it should be minimized, right? Am I right?
Citrus food not be minimized. It is important. Citrus food is a very important thing, Mataji, and because citrus fruit helps your body to have, first thing is vitamins, vitamin C, and second, it helps you to digest your the milk and other fruits in a foods in a very proper way. Now, in fact. Lime water, there is a concept, Mataji, called as CIP, cleaning in place. Now cleaning in place is something which is followed in all these production companies. Whenever there is a they produce milk and other things, and these milk goes into different piping and lines, and what they do is by using this acids and other things, they clean the whole pipeline. Now, every day in the morning, we should actually take a glass of water, lukewarm water, 4 drops of lime should be added into it, and you should sip that water. Once you sip that water, that cleanses whole of your esophagus, stomach, intestines, and all your roots in a very nice way. It is just like instead of harassing your organs, आप उसको बिठा के lemon juice पिला रहा है, वो तो बोलेगा अरे amazing, you are helping me in a nice way, मेरा मालिक एकदम जबरदस्त है. So lime water, you should try it out. Not put a lot of lime, because then you will tend to have more cough, but you should add citrus fruits in your daily diet also.
Yeah, Prabhu. Uh, Prabhuji, regarding this lime water, I have this personal experience. I used to drink this lime water, and even I changed to vinegar,
Ah.
the apple cider vinegar, something they say. And because of that, and I even brought organic one. So,
Ah.
but it happened that I got giddiness and all. And I
Ah.
actually actually checked with Aparna Mataji also. She also said
Hmm.
she started lemon water therapy, and then again she had to stop after 1 month because she started having this giddiness. So
So Mataji, don't follow it daily then. I mean, you just maybe see lime water is good for cleaning, but if it is causing you some problem, then you stop it. But you do at least maybe in every week you can do once or twice. This will help you to
hmm,
cleanse this part. So the cleansing
yeah,
is what is important. So for cleansing, you can use this lime water and only add 3 or 4 drops. Now don't add more. It is as good as a water. It is not going to hurt you. But if
hmm.
at all it is creating a problem, then you can reduce the number of times that you do, but at least follow it sometimes in a week.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Perfect, Mataji.
Haribol, Haribol. Muning Mataji, Richa, Rohit, you want to share something, ask something?
Prabhuji,
Yes,
very nice
Mataji.
session. Very good
Sorry, Mataji. First four
information.
slides, I was actually showing everything, but I was not knowing that it is not being shared. I'm really sorry, Mataji.
Hi. Yes, 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 yes. It's okay, Prabhuji. You share in the group also. I will ask for which fruit if you get in the night or in between, you are suggesting in between meals, or the you take
Mataji,
fruit.
you should rotate. All these colorful fruits are great. You should rotate. And one thing is this, that you should not mix, as I said, that in mono diet, you should take each type of fruit have certain ingredients inside it. So you cannot combine citrus fruit with an apple or something. Yeah. So it will not
Mhm.
serve the purpose. So you should actually keep on rotating. Every fruits have different things inside it. So one should not avoid कि यही खाना है and that we should not eat. You should try, आज ये खाया है कल दूसरा खाना चाहिए, you should keep on
Yes,
rotating.
yes,
दोपहर में
yes.
कुछ खाया है, nights में कुछ और खाना चाहिए. People say नहीं banana से weight बढ़ता है. No, not at all. I am having banana just like that and I have lost 4 kg in 2 weeks. So I am happy man. आज जो मेरा weight है, it's not been that weight since I think 2 years, 2.5 years. I was not at that weight level. I was 79. I am today 74 point something. And 2 साल से I am not at that weight level also. But it's not only for weight reduction, but it is also how efficiently we are eating. Na?
Yes, Prabhuji. But generally, the people say you should not eat fruit in the night, or you
Mataji, if you
should
are
eat
feeling,
4 or 5 o'clock.
hmm.
That's it.
The best
After
thing,
that,
Mataji, is this only. What you are saying is right. The best thing is this, that you should not eat after 6 o'clock. Best thing is
yes, yes,
that.
yes,
But
yes,
अगर भूख
yes.
लग गई तो क्या? So then you will try to do what? Instead of eating fruit, you will try to eat
Fruit.
biscuit. Now, biscuit is a calorie
No.
bomb. Biscuit is
Yes.
made of maida. मैदा
Yes.
itself is a wheat जिसमें से पूरा कार्बो मतलब जिसमें से पूरा fiber is removed plus butter. Butter is again a very I mean say वो लगता भले ही हम लोग को a very simple
अच्छा.
एक biscuit है, but it
Mm.
is a very complicated product to digest. So any dairy meal is a full meal. आपको लगता है कि हम एक कप चाय पी रहे हैं, but it takes stomach takes equal amount of time of 4 hours and small intestine takes 7 hours to digest it. So that is why it is better to take fruit than to have a biscuit in the night.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, that's it. That's very,
And
very
after
good
some
and
time,
very
you
nice.
will slowly come to this yogi cycle.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good session, Prabhuji. You share
Perfect,
this all
Mataji.
these things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Perfect. Great. So with your permission, thank you so much, Prabhujis and Matajis. Thank you so much. Sorry, I could not, I mean, I was not asking you that you could see it in the beginning. Otherwise, it would have been more, I mean, better. But I will share these PPT with you. I've made this for my family. I showed them, and they also said that okay, let's try something out. My mother is also diabetic. For her, I'm trying to arrange a treatment with Dr. Madhav itself. I hope that she will also be able to recover. My father has blood pressure, so I'm trying to use these techniques to apply it to them, and hopefully we'll see some benefits. So thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna.
So,
Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
Prabhuji, do not forget to share it with me. I'm also diabetic, okay? And
Yes,
my
Mataji.
family is also full of diabetic people.
Yes,
So it would
Mataji.
be very helpful for us as well.
Sure, Mataji. Sure, sure. Definitely, Mataji.
Haribol.